Good morning. This is Carlin Laraway, the Director of Assessment and Accountability, and it is the top of the hour, so we will go ahead and get started with our September update for today. We appreciate all of you being here. Just a reminder for those of you who are joining us for the first time, or those of you joining for the first time this year, which will be everyone, if you have questions, please type them in the questions box so that we can track those and provide answers. Throughout the webinar, we'll address questions, but we'll also put the question and answer log along with a recording of our presentation today on our website. If you need technical assistance, if you'll send a chat for technical assistance, we have Danielle standing by monitoring that. And our presentation for today has been posted as a document, so you can download that and follow along with it as you can. We'll switch right now to our accountability update, and joining me today we have Ayeka. She's going to give an update on grad rate, but I'm filling in for Kevin with an update. Oh, Ayeka's first before your grad rate update, so we'll go there next.
Hi everyone, this is Ayeka. So we're going to talk about four-year cohort graduation rate. Preview application is now open, so you can access the site to start viewing your current and future cohort members and their graduation status. There's a link there that you can click, and it will take you to the preview application. And if you don't have access to that, please contact your technology director to gain access to the application. The site currently displays 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2021 graduating cohorts. And you can also submit supporting documentation within the application for any transfer students. And I'm going to talk more about this in the next slide. And lastly, the appeals window opens in mid-October, so we'll keep you posted. So this slide shows what you can do in the preview application that I just talked to you about. The preview application accesses documentation for both current and future cohort members. So you can start submitting documentation, for example, for anyone who transferred, any students that are in the 2021 cohort that transferred last year, for example. And you can submit documentation to remove any students with the following exit codes. Those are the transfer exit codes, IC exit codes 2B, 2C, 2D, and 2E. And you want to contact the receiving school on the status of students with the following exit codes 1B and 2A. Those are in-state transfers, and for cohort graduation rate, any in-state transfers have to be verified via IC submission. So if you see those kids showing up in your cohort, that means the receiving district didn't upload those students. So please follow up with the receiving school or receiving district on the status of those students. And please contact your district's IC coordinator to correct any data, incorrect data displayed in the application. And I'm going to quickly go over four-year cohort graduation rate FAQ here. And do I need to resubmit IC files? And the answer is yes, if the data were incorrect or missing at the time of submission. And will resubmitting IC files reduce the number of appeals? For me, the answer is no, unless you have many foreign exchange students or homeschooled students who were incorrectly coded. And if you find those in your cohort list, please contact your IC coordinator to resubmit the file. And lastly, can I resubmit prior year's IC files? And the answer is yes. And please contact our support desk and ask for IC regional coordinator for further assistance. And five-year cohort graduation rate is also coming up, and appeals window opens in mid-October. And URL is TBD, but the appeals window, the five-year appeals window opens concurrently with the four-year appeals window, and we'll keep you posted on the five-year cohort graduation rate appeals window. Well, Carlene's going to talk about accountability reporting, but she needs to leave a little bit, so we'll just cover the accountability reporting. In August and September, the ACE published a list of schools that were identified for CSI Up, CSI Grad, CSI Top Performing, and Goal Makers. All of these reports are currently available and posted on our accountability site. And there is a link there that you can click, and Excel spreadsheets are posted.
This is Carlene. I'll just add on to that. If you have any questions about our accountability results, please feel free to reach out to any of us at the department. Kevin, Ayeka, and myself are happy to help answer questions about specifics. Please keep in mind the new report card will be released in December. So this posting of all of these results and our accountability indicators in our schools and all of the data is in anticipation of the new public report card that comes out in December. But for transparency's sake, to make this available to you, this is how we've posted this year, and we will be posting data files such as this ongoing in the future. So, but again, if you have any questions, please let us know. We're happy to answer. I'll turn things over to Melanie now for an update on the college entrance exam.
Hi, good morning. We are really active with PSAT school day activities, and just a high-level overview here of the PSAT school day itself. The primary test date is October 10th, and there's an alternate date, which is October 24th. It's important to note that this is not a makeup day. It is just an alternate day if your school or district is closed or you choose to administer on the 24th. And those are really few and far between. There's very few districts that need to do that due to school closure. Just a reminder that the PSAT NMSQT is the version of the test we contract with the College Board around for the school day administration. It's an optional assessment for 10th graders, and it's self-paid for 11th graders who mainly take it for the national merit qualifying test purposes. The test setup itself right now is, as you're realizing, a combination of site-based coordination, so in the schools, and also district level activities such as the bulk registration upload, which is very active right now. This can differ per school or district, so we do appreciate the increased involvement of district test coordinators, in particular related to the registration component. We have moved to the bulk registration for PSAT like SAT, but test orders are handled differently for PSAT. You have to go into the ordering system to order the tests themselves for PSAT, which does differ than SAT. Walk-ins, so any student that didn't make the bulk registration file that are permitted to take the test, can be handled in a walk-in manner. Students can bubble in the demographics needed on the day who didn't make it on that pre-ID upload. We have some key dates and deadlines here. Today is a critical day. If you're doing the bulk upload, that is due, I think, on or before, I'm reading the second block, I apologize, before September 13th. Going back to any test ordering or changes to your original test order, that is due today, and that is completed in the test ordering site. And you do need a code to get in there if you haven't already accessed that. And again, that reminder, the bulk registration does not create the test material order. That will be important to do. Bulk registration itself on or before September 13th. And then there's no late files accepted by the College Board after September 20th. At that point, you will not get pre-ID labels. If you need to test and still want to test, you have to make sure you submitted your orders to get test materials, and then you have to bubble in if a bulk registration was not completed.
We have a question, Mel. This is from Anita Christensen. If we are contacted by parents in neighboring school districts asking if we're administering the assessment at any of our sites on the 24th, do you have a list of locations that are administering the PSAT on the 24th? Can we send them to you for that list?
Yeah, I don't. That's a great question. I don't at this time. I might be able to contact our College Board operations staff to see if they can identify who has ordered for that day. I mean, I think there's less than a handful across the state, but I'm happy to follow up with that.
Thank you.
The final block, I'll just go back to that key dates one more time. The materials will arrive in your schools, and again, that's the site-based component, that all the test materials will arrive in the schools themselves, and those are your dates for that. If you are participating in that alternate test date, they'll arrive a little bit later, mid-October. So another note there is if you're doing the 24th test date, the deadlines above for registration and test ordering still apply.
We have another question from Matthew Johnson. Can you send out directions for the bulk registration upload?
Matthew Johnson, I'm happy to follow up with you. If we can grab your contact information, we'll forward what the College Board has provided everyone. So if you could just put your email in the question, that would be great. Okay, so just some tips for the College Board, and Matthew just might address some of your questions, but they are just tips, not explicit instructions. When using your access code for the first time, be sure to select your institution's name provided in the email that was sent with the code. So emails were sent out with codes for anyone that we've identified as the PSAT point of contact for a school. You should not change any template or headings in this process, and we are requiring that you put the state EDU ID in the student ID field. This is super critical for billing and data, clean data that comes back. Districts with multi-school upload include all students for all schools and ensure that the students are assigned to the appropriate AI code for their school. The AI code is the code that the College Board has your high school labeled as or coded as. Finally, include a Y in the PSAT and MSQT test admin indicator field. There's the birth date format. And then Thursday, I just wanted to note, last week, Thursday, if you submitted your bulk reg file, then you received an error message saying no juniors could be added. This should be resolved by now. The College Board worked on a resolution, and we would encourage you to please resubmit as needed because juniors can be added to this bulk upload process this year. After all your validations are successful, just click the submit request. That's really important. Last year we had many schools that didn't hit that final submit, and the College Board had to basically call you all to just say hit submit. So be sure to do that final step. And then when things are successful, you get a green thumbs up. The file has not been submitted until you see that green thumbs up as indicated there. Finally, just wanted to say that this test, as it comes and goes quickly, the importance of what you can do after. So when test results come back, I've included a couple links and resources here from the College Board portal, but there's also a resource library where you can print materials for parents and students alike. The PSAT is one of several measures, but a powerful tool in the beginning conversations around career and college readiness, as well as where a student stands with the College Board benchmarks. The resource library contains, like I mentioned, links and presentations, resource flyers for all sorts of audiences. The scores really are ideally accessed along with resources on what the scores mean and how the academic skills can be strengthened. So I would encourage that messaging if you all can share some resources with students as they're getting their scores in. I think it can be a very powerful tool. And then finally, for questions on national merit for your juniors, you really need to go to the National Merit site directly and contact that organization. College Board doesn't, they offer it as a courtesy and partner with National Merit, but they can't answer specifics around qualifying questions. And there's my contact information too if you have any questions about PSAT. Thank you.
Moving on to Nancy now for the ISAT system.
Good morning, everyone. Glad that you could be here this morning. Just a couple of updates on the ISAT system. Next slide, please. We have some new documents on the portal. Several of these are new. Others have been updated. So you can go ahead and read through those. I listed a few that you might be the most interested in, but if you're wanting to know when new documents are posted, be sure you're signed up for email notifications from the ISAT portal. you can request that in the upper right-hand corner of the home screen so that you're notified every time a new or updated document is posted. We have several new things happening now every day, every other day. There are some different documents and resources for you. So go ahead and check that regularly. There is a new secure browser for 2018-19. The students will use this secure browser when they are taking either interim assessments or the summative assessment at the end of the year. Currently, the browser from last year is still working. I know that quite a few districts are testing already. That will be supported only until November 30th. So be sure that sometime between now and November 30th, when it's convenient for you, you download the new secure browser for your students so that that'll all be taken care of for the year. You can do that from the portal homepage over on the right-hand side of the screen. The interim assessment window is open. It did open on the 9th of August. Remember that it will close prior to the start of the summative window. So it's going to close the Wednesday before, will only be open until 3/13/2019. So be sure to get all of your interim assessment testing done prior to that time. I know quite a few people have started. We don't have any new blocks or a couple modified blocks, but primarily for the interim assessments, what's new for this year is that we have several options now for Braille this year. So you can take a look at the screen. This is in one of the documents as well. We want to make sure that these assessments are accessible to all of your students. And so Smarter Balance is working very hard to make sure that everything is available. There are a few blocks in a few interim assessment blocks and a few items within the interim comprehensive assessment that require teacher hand scoring. The teacher hand scoring system is now not a separate application. It's incorporated into Airways, which is our data tool that is specific to interim assessment. So it's very, very easy to use, but there are a few new resources that will support this transition for you. In the interim assessment quick guide and the Airways reporting quick guide, it goes through how to use the teacher hand scoring option that is within Airways. If you have any questions about that, you can give me a call or you can always call the help desk. The essays that students write for ELA, those are scored by artificial intelligence, but teachers can go in and review that scoring and change it if they'd like to. We are hoping in the future to possibly have an option of having other short answer, open response items scored by artificial intelligence, but at this time, that's not an option. Teachers will still need to go in and score those items before they get a complete score. But as the assessments are listed in Airways, you'll see a little notification saying you have items to go in and score. So it's going to be a good reminder when you log in there. Right now, there are 3 reports that all teachers should be reviewing in the online reporting system, looking at their current students. As I've gone around the state this fall and done some training for folks, people have really appreciated looking at these reports and being able to get some important information on their students and their classes, their rosters of students right now in the fall as they start teaching. So these are the 3 reports that would be really important to have teachers look at right now in the fall with new students. So the individual student reports, the claim report by student, so a student list with all of their claim scores, and then the classroom target report. In order to see these, you will have to upload your students, make sure all of your teachers, users are current, and then also create rosters for this year. This is what the claim report looks like. And again, it will be able to give you an idea of performance based on the classroom at the student level for each of those claims. And the target report. We do have an additional resource for using the target report that is not yet posted, but we've been working on it. And so we'll post it hopefully in the next week or so. So watch for that as another new document. But it helps people understand how to utilize this report for the new students that have come to them this fall. And just a reminder, all the adults in TIDE, we call users, all the adult users in TIDE do need to update their password for 2018-19 upon the first login. So be sure that you do that. Again, the digital library is a separate login, but teachers can use the same password if they would like to. So that doesn't necessarily need to be updated, but anything in the AIR system, when they first log in, they'll need to update that password. And also the TA certification course, I know many people took that last year. It needs to be taken again because there are several updates for this year. So before administering an assessment, people must participate in that TA certification course. All right, thanks so much, everyone. Please let me know if you have any additional questions.
All right, it's my turn. This is Karen Striegel, Special Education Assessment, and I bring you greetings from the alternate universe, alternate assessment, that is. We're all excited. Yeah. So I'm really quick today. I want to talk a little bit about an acronym you're going to see floating around, and those of you who are testing coordinators already know this abbreviation, IDAA, as an abbreviation for alternate assessment. We have for many years talked about the ISAT Alt, and we're moving to IDAA because that's what AIR uses and in our alphabet soup. And this, I'm hoping, will make it a little bit easier for all of us to have fewer acronyms to deal with. And so special ed directors know this, special education teachers are getting this, and hopefully it won't be too much trouble for you. I am happy to say that there are no changes to the assessments themselves this year. ISAT Alt Science, no changes. The ELA and Math alternate assessments, no changes. However, we are transitioning, having students at the high school level take the Idaho alternate assessment in ELA and Math. We're transitioning to have them do it at grade 10 because that's when everybody else takes their test. But in this transition year, we are assessing, you are assessing grades 10 and 11. So 2 grades at the high school are taking the Idaho alternate assessment for ELA and Math. So what we've done for those teachers is open that testing window earlier. So on February the 25th, that's when high school grades 10 and 11 can begin their ELA and Math alternate assessments. I'm going to be doing some separate training for special education teachers about this to help you get the word out. So just tell everybody breathe. A few words about the 1% cap on alternate assessment participation. So our rates are over 1.0% for the second year in a row. You can see them here. ELA participation was 1.1%. Last year was 1.2, so we've gone down. Woohoo! Math was 1.2. When we talk just to the 10th place, there's no change, but that went down about 4/100. So we went from 1.19 to 1.15. Little progress. Science went down from 1.2, and last year was 1.1. Woohoo! So we are submitting a waiver extension request because we are over again. And I expect we will be for the 2019 spring testing window. The waiver extension request is out for public comment right now, and it will be open until September 24th. So if you go to the Assessment and Accountability homepage, there's a big blue box. So please take a look at it. I encourage you to do it. I also know that if you're having insomnia, that will probably help with that. You know, take a look at it. If you've got some comments, those comments are due by the 24th, and it's just a little quick Google Doc. We have to submit the 1% cap waiver extension request to U.S. Department of Education on October the 1st. You should not feel obligated to take a look at the waiver extension request. But if you feel like you've got something to contribute, then please do. Part of what's included in the waiver request is Idaho alternate assessment participation, oversight, and support. And that explains what we're going to do to provide oversight and support the districts that are over the 1% cap. I know I'm talking really fast. I had some caffeine this morning. As everybody around this table goes, oh no. Okay, the alternate assessment participation decision making. Last spring, it was in April, I released a short module on making alternate assessment participation decisions and coupled the learner characteristics inventory with it, the LCI. So it talks through each participation criteria and how items from the learner characteristics inventory can help drive those discussions. Well, I have an optional form that I've created. I had to make some changes to it this week to make it accessible, right? So as everybody goes, yeah. And I'm going to release that with a quick tutorial. It is optional for most IEP teams. It's a way to check off some boxes. Yes, we talked about it, to lead the conversation. And just want to know that that's coming very shortly. Thank you. And we ask questions here, even the silly ones. And I would say that there are no silly questions. Please don't hesitate to call me or send me an email if you have questions about alternate assessments. Thank you for your time and attention. And now to Heidi.
Good morning, everybody. Just a quick update on science. The Year of Awareness has begun, and the academic department is supporting the professional development for implementing the new science standards. And it is a year of transition for the assessment department, which will include new science items on the 5th grade assessment in spring 2019 and offer an additional 8th grade optional field test for the spring 2019. So just a little update. More information to come, but to just keep you posted.
We do have a question, and Dr. Striegel walked out, but maybe you can answer, Carlin.
I'll do my best. What do we got?
Will the release of the optional form be sent out to SPED directors and or posted on the portal?
Yes, both.
Okay.
If I understand the question correctly, yes, both.
Thank you.
All right, Melanie, I think you're up for an update on our English language proficiency assessment.
I am up again. So we just wanted to talk a little bit about WETA, just a year at a glance at this point. The WETA screener is actively being used right now as you are getting your new students settled and registered. It is a reminder that the screener is only to be used for new incoming students or transfer students after the home language survey results are reviewed and indicate the need to screen. If a student has screened or is transferring in from a different WETA state, there's no need to re-screen current ELs or re-screen students who already have been screened in. You have 30 days to screen a student from their date of registration. So there's a little time there to assess and get your materials ready and refreshed on the screener as needed. Also, a brief reminder to check ELMS, the English Language Management System, prior to administering any screener to ensure that the student has not already been screened in the state. Access to ELMS is a common question, especially if you're new or you're dealing with a new EL staff. That access is granted to your district IC coordinator. There's different roles associated with the access, so you'll want to touch base with your L team and decide what kind of role you will need in that system. WETA certifications this year, we're on an every other year schedule. So Access 2.0 certification will be required this year prior to administering that, and it's ideal to do that prior to our open window, which is at the end of January. And then next year, we'll flip back to the screener. I've had a question around staff who were new last year who did access and whether they should recertify again this year. And the guidance is yes, they should, so they can stay on cycle with the state requirement. Any new staff who has not administered any screeners should certify in any WETA assessment they're administering or prior to. The training modules, as a reminder, are off the WETA secure site, so the main WETA website, and I put a little visual here. There's tiles that are clearly labeled. You enter those tiles and it launches the training module. Couple of dates and resources and announcements you all might have noticed, but WETA has a new website. It is redirected from the old website, but you might want to bookmark the new one. It's a little bit more prominent as far as it being connected to the University of Wisconsin at this point, and a lot more streamlined, in my opinion. Additionally, they worked really hard this summer on refining the state membership pages. So I put a visual of Idaho's WETA Consortium member page here, and it is very specific to Idaho. It includes our test dates at this point, contacts to the right, and at the bottom of the contact list are a lot of customer service resources. If you're helping your staff get set up with accounts, you'll want to refer to this page if possible. There's email addresses and phone numbers available for that purpose. Additionally, on that Idaho Consortium page, there are checklists and contact information, as I mentioned, but the checklists are really critical as you're getting ready, or if you're new and you're wanting to seek information or clarity on state-specific guidance, and then identification and placement guidance as well. And finally, WETA announced just this week, I believe, that the manuals are now available for the upcoming school year. So the 18-19 Access Test Administration Manual and the District Test Coordinator Manual are now available in the download library, amongst many other resources in that library. And the Accessibility and Accommodation Supplement is now in the resource library off of the WETA website, a slightly different location than the download library. I can help anyone navigate this if you're looking for a resource. And again, let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.
Hi, this is Paul, your National Assessment of Educational Progress Coordinator. My thing is really short today, so I'm going to get through this. I have sent out emails to superintendents, district test coordinators, principals, and even some chosen school coordinators who help with NAEP. Now is the time of the year that everyone write down their test date for NAEP and sign up for the My NAEP website. Registering on My NAEP is a very simple step that someone at your school can do. Usually, principals choose someone in the building who understands how to access student data like race, ethnicity, students with disabilities, or English learners. I have already sent out emails on August 24th and September 9th. The sooner you register on My NAEP and fill out the appropriate information, the fewer email and phone call reminders you will receive from me. So I've got about a third of schools who have finished registering, and I would love to see more coming in the next week. I'd like to be done at the end of the month. That's my personal goal. Next one, yeah. For those of you who have not received an email from me, it's because students in your school were probably not selected for participation. Double check those 2 dates I said earlier if you think you might be participating. For example, you might be a big school or you have lots of different student groups. Check the dates on the previous slide, August 24th and September 6th. It will be beneficial for everyone if we get this done as soon as possible. For those who have already gone through the process and sent your information to me, thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome to My NAEP 2019.
Hello, everybody. This is Heidi again, and I'm here to talk about the new IRI. So we have quite a few topics to review today. How do districts check to see if a student is already tested? What's the difference between ability and percentile scores? Screening scores versus benchmarks? How to access the test incident log? The IRI fall testing window closing? Upcoming trainings? Resources and support. So let's get started. Checking scores from a campus or district level. You are going to go to the Administration tab or Classroom tab that's found on the Secure iStation website. You're going to log in with your teacher username and password. Scroll down and click to the Assessment Completion Report link under the related report. And from this report, you can drill down. They can simply export the details, and then on column G, it will show a Y or an N to see if the student has been assessed or not. You're going to do this for both campus or district level. Checking scores from the classroom level is a little bit different. You're going to click the Classroom tab, also found on the Secure iStation website. Students will be listed in alphabetical order. You will see whether they're complete or incomplete next to, right underneath ISAT status. That's how you'll be able to tell if the student is completed. And just remember that the assessment completion report is only available to manager level educators, so to the district or school level. One of the questions, especially for gifted or high achieving students, is that they're topping out at the 3.1 scale as far as levels and ability. So what I'd like for you to do is please look at the percentile scores. The percentile will tell you exactly where the student falls in comparison with other students, especially if you're looking at their own grade level or peers. The three different reports that I would look at are the ISAT Summary Report, ISAT Skill Growth Report, and the Student Summary Report. These three will tell you exactly where the student is going. Because we have the early reading assessment through the state contract, it is not showing that the level that the students are achieving is actually 6th grade or 8th grade. It's showing it tops out at 3.1, and that's why you want to look at the percentile scores. All right, the fall IRI scores. So remember, depending on when your students were tested, depends on the benchmarks that were already set. So the assessment department will first use the first test that is administered to the student as the official score for the fall IRI. The only way we know not to pull the first test is if an impropriety has been answered in the test incident log. So it's imperative that you enter that test impropriety. You can find this information on the Secure iStation website. The information as far as the benchmark scores. Using your iStation username and password, it can be found under the Toolbox tab under Instructional Tier Goals. And now the test incident log. To help direct you, you are going to find the test incident log, the first picture with the arrow, under the portals portion of the Assessment and Accountability page under Resource Center. It's the very last card. You're going to click on the card and make sure that you log in to the right-hand side. You have to have proper rights, and usually district test coordinators have the rights to access this application. If you do not have the rights, you need to contact SDE support to either access the rights, or you can give the information to your district test coordinators for them to upload this information. Once you're in the test incident log, you're going to select your district from a drop-down menu, and then you're going to put in what the issue was, the impropriety. Please remember that anything such as Johnny was tired that day is not going to count and suffice for an impropriety. So please make sure that you put in there the EDUID of the student so that we can track and make sure that we capture the second test for that student. I will reach out to iStation And remember, this is only necessary to file a test incident during the fall and spring state testing windows. The test administration manual was sent to the district implementation coordinators and implementation specialists on August 31st. So if you're interested in a copy, please just email me. The test window closing soon. So the IRI test window closes September 28th. Please make sure that all students have been tested in K through 3rd grade. Please ensure all students have finished their tests, and you can find that in the assessment completion report. Please make sure any test improprieties have been entered in the test incident log. And remember, you do not need to upload any data to the SCE via IC. We have access to those scores.
We have a few questions, if you don't mind.
Yes.
The first two tie in together.
Okay.
How can you find out if they students tested in another district as new students move in this month?
So how I told you guys to access checking the scores, what you're going to do is you're going to download that student information with their EDU ID, and it will show you, it will transfer all of those scores over to your district and show you if the student has been tested or not. If the student has not been tested, it will say N, and you will need to test them. If it says yes, then you should have access to the scores automatically.
Heidi, does my student need to be loaded into iStation for me to know that? I can't search for a student that isn't already loaded in my school or district to find out if they have a test.
You need to make sure that you add that student under the administration tab when they have a newly entered student. So make sure that you add them into your roster until you know that they're there, so that it will read and capture that EDU ID number.
The follow-up question, if the students tested in August at their previous school, but the current school is testing everyone in September, we don't retest, or do they retest? Also, the benchmarks are different?
Okay, yes, so you will only test a student once. We will only capture the score, the first test that that student will take in between August 20th and September 28th. So there are different benchmark scores. The August benchmark scores shown there on that chart are a couple points ahead of the September scores, just because of the fact that this is a nationally normed test, and there's an assumption that some teaching and learning has taken place. So therefore, there's an increase in the benchmark score.
Okay. Will a student show growth if they top out at 3.1 on the growth report?
Well, they are going to show growth. However, if you simply just look at the growth report, it's not going to show you as far as the tier level of where the student is going to be. So you need to make sure that you look at the percentile scores, because that will also tell you, as well as the Lexile report will also tell you how that student is performing.
Are the IRI scores pulled from district, a building level, or school? Our district planned testing for September, but some teachers had students get into the system in August. You kind of already answered this, but will the August scores be counted as IRI scores, or will the September scores be counted? This was only at one building in the district.
Yes, unfortunately, the testing window runs from August 20th through September 28th. So the first test that the student takes is going to be the score that's captured by the state.
Unless they enter an impropriety into the test incident log.
Last question. How do we know if an extended resource room student or an L newcomer should test or not? Are there exemption rules?
So unfortunately, I think maybe what you're referring to is the exemption rule for the ISAT, and that does not apply to the IRI. We would like for the guidance from the State Department is to please try to test all of the students. If for whatever reason it is not, then there needs to be really sufficient evidence on why this wouldn't work. Remember that we do have Spanish available as an accommodation. That's the instructions. This is an early literacy assessment in English. So as far as the Spanish being what the main test is about, that will not take place. However, I do like to also say, you know, it's always good to get a baseline with the student. You can do a one-to-one with those students. So I would really try to work with the student in particular and just try to see where we can get for the first time.
While you were explaining, 2 more questions came in. Okay. Are we allowed to give an on-demand assessment before the fall window closes? Example, if we tested a student the first week of September, could we give an on-demand assessment the last week in an area we have been providing intervention in, or should we wait until October 1?
Yes, you can give another on-demand or an on-demand assessment during the testing window. Just remember that the state captures the first test that the student takes between August 20th and September 28th, unless a test impropriety has been logged in.
Last question. Is there a way to turn off the timer within iStation?
There is a way. However, during the testing window, so for the first test for the student, we would ask that you not access that because those scores will not be, they'll not be considered as part of the scores for the state. So because it is a different accommodation, I would ask that everybody try to use the timed version, and then during the rest of the year, during progress monitoring, you do have access to turn that off for students to see how they do. Please make sure that you use that as a building block, and maybe halfway through the year, you use some of the timing so that students are used to the timing and not used to just taking the test without the time. That's it? Okay. So some upcoming training, I just want to let everybody know that this has been sent out. The district implementation coordinator has received an email to sign up for fall training. So it was the guidance for the district implementation coordinator was to sign up their team, and that was to help alleviate some issues or confusions that we had in the past. So the training dates are September 28th for Region 1, September 27th for Region 2, October 12th for Region 3, October 11th for Region 3, October 10th for Region 4, and October 9th for Region 5. That's at a new place at the MEC in Pocatello, and October 8th is Region 6. These are going to be half-day training sessions from about 8 to 12 with an optional collaboration hour following afterwards. The iStation team members and myself will be available to answer any questions, but I thought that that would allow for schools to be able to put some processes in place and have some collaboration time. The recommendation is for the district implementation coordinator, teacher training coordinator, and up to 3 additional staff attend training. Here are a couple of resources. So the Padlet link, which is shown there, is for the iStation Overview Idaho. It will have all the training materials that we've used in the past and that we're going to use on that site. We also have new Edmodo information. I just wanted to state that it's a new title. So the Idaho State Department of Education Assessment and Accountability Networking Group for 2018-2019. We have a new group code, and that's been entered into the assessment newsletter. And our small group name, all of the assessments have small groups a part of this so that we can zero in on what your questions are for a particular assessment. And the small group name is New IRI ISIP ER by iStation. Here is my information. As always, you can contact me via email, phone, and then if there's any technical questions, please contact iStation. I've included their information here. If you would like to also let me know what's happening, that's always kind of a good thing so that I can help reach out to other districts that may be having the same issues. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate the rollout has been going very well. I know that there have been a couple of hiccups, but things are happening, and I'm very excited about what we're seeing.
That concludes our September update. Thanks for hanging in there. That was a lot of information to cover, but this is the kickoff to the year. Seems to be always an interesting time with lots of relevant information. I will wait for just a minute and see if there's any other outstanding questions that we haven't answered. I'll look at Danielle and double check and see if we have anything else coming in. If we missed your question today and you think of it later, please email us. We're happy to answer those. And again, the recording of this webinar along with the questions and answers will be posted tomorrow or Friday of this week on our assessment and accountability site. No other questions are coming in.
Just a quick reminder to everybody that the comprehensive literacy plan is due to the State Board of Education October 1st.
Thank you. That's a great reminder. As well as school district continuous improvement plans also due October 1st. So make sure you get those deadlines in. Any other updates from the team or other questions? All right, we did finish early, so we're glad to have wrapped up a great update, and we look forward to seeing you all again in October. Until then, please let us know what we can do to support you and your school. Thank you.